Welcome to Uncouth Radio. Did Ron get knocked off already?
I knew I was coming with that fire.
Fans is on you already.
Hey, you know what? I was like, why damn you playing this damn song? But with the beat song, that shit hit different.
It's fire.
I was like, okay, that shit hit different with the beats.
This is a little high pitch 4th of July.
That's the one for you.
That's the one for me.
Yeah, the bass was knocking the guitar. I could hear all the instruments and shit. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it got to be beat.
Yeah, no, that's the jam. Shout out to my man Aaron. He used to play bass for Wild Bunch. That's his record.
Yeah.
AD the bass man. I love that record. And I just feel like, that record talks a lot about kind of the stuff we talk about, so it feels appropriate for Uncouth to be a theme on Uncouth. Shit, man, we got a lot to talk about. Shout out to Chan. She's not here tonight. Chan, we hope you feel better. We miss you, and when you're not here, shit can get out of control. So sorry in advance.
Well, she's like a room away, so she'll run up in this motherfucker if I get too loud. So she ain't too far away.
Okay, so she ain't totally letting the
we're not completely without chaperone.
Yeah.
She might pop on the screen. Like, what y'all saying? Next topic.
Hey, you remember on 5 Heartbeats when dude was playing the piano and Duck just came and pushed him out the way? I'll probably be sitting here talking. She just gonna come and throw my ass out the way.
Hey man, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. I'm glad y'all here to talk about these things. So let's start with because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that's a little less super political tonight. You know what I mean? Like I kind of want to get into some life stuff with you guys tonight. You know what I'm saying? Talk a little bit about life tonight. But before we do that, let's talk about the new district attorney, Gascon. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, new district attorney Gascon. So there's like he's very polarizing, right? So he's been really big on social justice, on the social justice front, as far as changing out sentencing and stopping juveniles from being able to be tried as adults. So there are some people who are really with the changes that he's making, and there are some people who are really, really against it and feels like he's going to do nothing but help raise crime in the inner cities. So I wanted to get you guys' take on what you've been seeing and what you think. Quincy, I know some of the stuff on the police side, because I know you hear some of it, from the people on the police side and what they think as police officers. And Ron, I want to hear your side from from the social justice side of the changes that are being made and how you feel. So Quincy, go ahead.
From the streets.
Well, yeah, I would start by saying, like, I think these are the elections and things we need to start paying more attention to. I think we've been so locked in on the federal elections, the president, the VP, but I think where real change is gonna come from us is your local elections and your state level elections. Because when we talk about the laws, the issues with a lot of the laws, a lot of it is the state laws and legislations that we have issues with. As far as Garcon, cops hate him. And it's weird because he's a former cop, actually former LAPD cop.
Gascon?
Yeah, Gascon. They don't like him because they feel like he's too lenient. Like Dame said, they feel under him crime is going to be out of control. Also, he wants information. Anytime somebody come into place that want to hold their ass accountable, they not gonna like them. So he want every cop, their history of any misconduct, their record of police brutality. He want all of that, and they have something called a Brady list, and these are officers who there's a list. Once you're a police officer and you've been you lie under oath, they put you on this list. So pretty much every time you testify as an officer, the defense could have access to that list to show that, you know, you as a police officer in the past, you have a history of lying and not telling the truth.
That's a
So
big deal.
yeah, that is a huge deal. A lot of times departments just get rid of you when you're on that list, unless you're white. They'll keep you on and just hide you on cases and hope that the defense attorney don't ask for the Brady list and see why you're on it. And so, of course, law enforcement, they don't like it. My theory is this: once you've been doing something so long one way and it hasn't worked, why not try the opposite way? I mean,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
to me, that's what it that's what it boils down to, is that we have to find different ways, you know, not to get off topic, but I was looking at Merrick Garland, who's been sworn in his confirmation hearing for AG, and he was just talking about how, like, you know, we got to stop paying, you know, marijuana arrests and possessions and ruining people's lives over these small, minute crimes that really doesn't harm anybody. Right. And that would help probably give people, make them believe that they have a second chance of redeeming themselves. Because I could tell you, being someone in law enforcement, most of your criminals are repeated offenders because they feel like there's no way out. Once you tag with a felony, it's like you out, but you not out. And so I think that what's his name? Gascon kind of feels it seemed like he's kind of along those lines with his policies. He don't want to ruin people to the point to where they feel like they have no other alternative but stay in crime, and they just add more to our problems and fill up, you know, the prisons more. So, you know, like I said, anytime somebody is transparent in that way, also want to hold police officers responsible, they're not gonna like them. So that's the law enforcement perspective on it.
Go ahead, Sheila.
I completely agree with you, Q, but I would take it one step further on the part of, like, you know, that every time we see any kind of a superficial problem, there's always a much deeper problem when you are impacting white pockets on a major corporate level.
Talking about the state prisons?
I'm talking about their lobbyists. Yes, those are the prisons. And I mean, the prison lobbyists are the most gangster lobbyists out of any, like, they out gangster tobacco, like all of them. They are the most gangster lobbyists. Mm-hmm. And the way that Gascon is moving is going to cost a lot of them a lot of money because, yeah, you have the 3 strike stuff. Guess what? If somebody catching 3 strikes, the way that your president ain't working. So why, especially if it's something where they have not harmed anybody, especially the situation where nobody got hurt. I don't care if you stole some clothes from a store 15 times. I don't think there's any time that you should go to jail and just spend the rest of your life there. I don't care if it happened 20 times. If you didn't actually physically harm somebody or cause their life, then just come up with a sentence for it and make it. What really needs to happen is we need to find a different way to jail people. We need to find a way to rehabilitate people that is actually turning them away from a life of crime. But because America had to get rid of slavery, jail has been the way that America has maintained its workforce for free, based almost. I mean, where those prisoners get paid maybe what, on the high side, $1 an hour, for sometimes as low as 11 cents an hour to do this. Like, that's where you saw Trump come out and, oh yeah, we're bringing American jobs back. That nigga didn't mean to us. He meant to jail. That's the American jobs that came back here. That's the only way that we've had to outbid the cheap labor that has happened in China. Now, with all of the things that Gascon is coming in with, like no cash bail, you know how that double standard goes. White people don't want things that kind of level the playing field. You know what I mean? Because they're used to having the money. So they're used to, even when they do the most heinous crime, they pay their little bill and go about their business. But we, even if it's something we're not guilty of, we wind up sitting there. We wind up losing our job while we're in there. And then, I mean, it's a very easy road to go towards being a criminal, especially after you getting locked up with criminals, you getting beat up by them. Your mind changes. You know what I mean? It's a whole little chain reaction. But I'm looking at it from a bigger scale to where I'm waiting on the character assassination because he's going to cost big prison a lot of money with this. And you know, California, we got more jails than anybody, right? So once he starts, if this what he's doing, I really think will be effective. They've already had data that showed, like in San Francisco, with the cashless bail system, people came back more often to deal with their court cases. He is very structured in terms of the data that he is collecting to where they have quarterly check-ins and they are looking. He's not just trying something new. He is very strategic about tracking the effects of all of this stuff. And like you were saying, Q, the police officers don't want all this stuff kept tracked. They're not used to being tracked. They're not used to having to report this kind of stuff. They're not used to having to give answers for all the crap that they do. So he's got the hostility from the police department. He's got the hostility from the prisons. And you got the hostility from white people who want to act like, oh, the world is going to go to shit if black and Latino people don't get the biggest prison sentences possible. Oh, if you get tried as a kid, you know, you just because a kid is not tried as an adult does not mean they're not going to have any prison time. It just means they're not going to spend the rest of their life for a stupid mistake that they made when they were like 14 or 15 years old. And you know, we're talking about our kids. Sometimes they haven't even committed the crime. They might have just rolled with somebody who committed the crime and they're still getting tried as an adult. So it's one of those things to where I completely support what he's doing. From what I've seen so far, it has been impressive. Everything that he has proposed has been what is sorely needed. I just am waiting to see exactly how much pushback, because he is making a lot of powerful people very angry with the way that he's trying to change things. So I'm just praying for protection over the dude, but I feel good about the changes that he's trying to make.
Okay, so I wanted to address some of the comments that we got coming from Golden Jackson and Eric Strong. What up, both of you guys? So she said, imagine the big homies putting these youngsters up to murder and not getting time for it. The victims will never be vindicated. And I think what she's talking about is because they're saying even if you commit murder, rape as a minor, you're only going to be held till you're 18, no matter what. And one of the things that I
heard him say till 25 for like murder.
Well, let's look it up to be sure.
Yeah.
And Eric said some of Gascon's policies will help offset the bad laws that gave long sentences, but I think there has to be balance. And you know, so and she said this is going to affect the inner city the most. I agree with Eric. I agree with Eric that there has to be balance, but also it's like we're in a place where it's like the system has been so bad for black and brown people, black boys specifically. It's almost like they have to do something so drastic just to try to reverse and fix, you know, some of the damage that they have done. So Eric said yes, it's 25. Okay,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, up to 25. So look, I'll let Ron go and then I'll state my piece. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, I mean, there's two sides to this. One being, you have to view this from the victim side, and you have to view this from the actual criminal side. From the victim side, I know quite a few mothers who have lost their children to gun violence and to criminal behavior. But I think there just needs to be some form of, now, for me, I don't think minors deserve life sentences, and I think that's almost for any crime, but we also have to have something in place to rehabilitate them. So we can't say you're not going to spend the rest of your life in jail, but we're then going to put you out there in the streets with no sort of coaching, no psychological review or things like that. So I agree, there has to be a balance to what this and how we approach this. But the reality is, she's right. We're going to feel the brunt of any law change. And I forgot the lady's name that was mentioning, that the inner city is going to burn down. Well, we're burning down. I mean, at some point we have to stop, reevaluate what we're doing, and then try something else. And I think this step, for me, having You know, I'm speaking from a parent who hasn't lost a child, so I have to be, you know, give that full disclosure. You know, so I can see where, you know, some mothers would definitely feel there's no way that that person should ever be released, but there should be some sort of review where it's, look, if one child kills another child, you know, in self-defense or something like that, where this child wasn't a gang member, then maybe we go this route. But if both children are gang members, at some point, you know, we have to start dealing with the reality is if our children are living that lifestyle, there's a penalty and a cost to that lifestyle, and their life can be on the line in choosing that. And a lot of these parents who have lost children, and this is not speaking to anyone specific, but they are aware that their child is in that lifestyle. They flaunt that lifestyle, and then they get upset at the system when, you know, something happens like that. So there's a lot of things that go on with this. And I understand this is a very emotional topic, but I think at some point we just have to address the fact there's way too many of us in jail. We're spending way too much time in jail, and we're not being rehabilitated. So if you're going to go the jail route, there must be rehabilitation. Otherwise, you can't penalize people for the rest of their lives for things they do when they're a minor. I mean, that to me, that's ridiculous.
Well, here it is. Here it is. Here it is for me. And like you said, it's a big picture. This is like a really big picture thing. So I want to make sure we try to talk about it with the full breadth of it, right? But this is a huge big picture thing because, like you said, if a law changes, it's gonna affect us. Golden. So you say, I agree. Life sentence. You know, she was saying, if you murder somebody at 17, getting out at 25, she said that's not enough time. And I would agree with you. But the issue is, and we saw this. I'll give you a prime example. We saw this I think it was last year. There was a drive-by and a white boy joined the gang. He came down here to join the gang. He was from the affluent neighborhood. The black boys, they all went to jail and got real time. White boy got probation for the exact same crime.
Palos Verdes. He was from Palos Verdes.
Palos Verdes. Yeah. So these are some of the things that I think need to be fixed and adjusted. And again, I'm not saying that the changes that he's making are going to be perfect, but I think he's trying to do something drastic enough to make change to try to even the playing field a little bit, because what happened in that case, these were literally, it ain't like it was two different situations. This is the same situation, a gang member in a car with other gang members. But because he was a young white boy who they feel like he has so much of his life left, his life meant something, he was able to get off. The black boys got the full sentence. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where you kind of got to talk
compassion.
about
That compassion should be had for just all of those children.
But, in that case, if it's going to be a sentence for a specific crime, that same sentence should apply across the board.
Now, obviously, not the shooter. Obviously, the shooter is going to get a little bit more. I'm sorry, Q, for cutting you off, but you know, but you know, they all should get something similar. Not he get nothing and they get everything.
This is the problem with when you try to correct a system that's so flawed, because the biggest difference that nobody talk about in that case is one of those kids had a private attorney and everybody else had a public defender. And so when you, and so when you look at, I've been on multiple cases where I felt like we didn't have the right person, but the family was forced to accept a plea deal, not because they felt like he was guilty, because he didn't want to spend the rest of his life in jail for something he didn't do. So he'd just rather take the 10 to 15 years. So that's the issue that I think need to be correct. Like, why does a person innocent or guilt relies on their financial status? And that's the problem that we have, because we assume that, I mean, there's been, I know for sure, because I was hoping that it went to trial so I could testify and help the kid out. And I was so disappointed when I found out, because of course I couldn't tell them because I was an officer. Like, look, if you go to trial, I'm going to help you out. I couldn't do that. So I was so disappointed when I found out that the kid, actually the family, and I couldn't blame him for accepting a plea deal for something he didn't do, you know? And so that's the issue that I think we need to figure out, because you have people going to jail, playing for deals for things that they didn't do because they can't afford an attorney like that kid in Palos Verdes, which was the biggest difference in that case to me, is that his parents was able to get him a private attorney, and the other kids that was from down here, well, they had a public defender.
And half of the time, those public defenders they're given like 10 minutes sometimes to review a case before they go and defend somebody. Like even like 10 minutes. They're so overloaded with cases.
Oh dang, she
But
froze. But and I want to say this. So
but
to
Eric,
Eric's
well, hold
point,
on.
Oh, you
Eric,
can't prepare for 10 minutes. Okay.
Eric, yes, the DA does offer the plea deals, and I've never, in my experience, seen a judge say, "Oh no, that's not a good plea deal." I just had I just had a former player of mine who I was going to court with, and the case was very shaky, and I think she could have won if she had an attorney, but the fact that the public defender wasn't even willing to fight for her, she had to accept the deal or face 2 felonies for something so minute and minor that happened in high school. And the judge,
and that ain't happening to white kids.
Yeah, and the judge was encouraging her, like, look, just take this, you'll get probation, blah blah blah. So we know all those people in that courtroom are friends. I used to tell, like, they go to lunch together, they hang out with one another, the public defender, the DA, and the judges. So, you know, I once had a judge tell me he resigned because they was telling him how to do his cases. So the system is flawed because people who are poor, whether they innocent or not, it really doesn't matter because they have to. I mean, hell, somebody offer you 5 years or 25 years, you're gonna take the 5 years, whether you did it or not, because you're not gonna risk going in front of a jury with a public defender. Hell, right. I wouldn't.
Right, and that's what I mean. So that's back to Golden's point. I think there will be some. There are going to be some disappointed people. I think there does need to be some discernment between like rapists and murderers, and because I think there needs to be a discernment between being tough on crime, but it's usually tough on crime is usually tough on Black people,
right?
And that's the thing that, and to me, that's the thing that sits at the forefront of all this. But when I said it's an even bigger issue, all the crime, a lot of it is because of other things. A lot of the crime is because of lack of resources in the neighborhoods. A lot of crime is because of lack of, educational opportunities in the neighborhoods. A lack of it's so many things compounded that end up putting a lot of kids into positions. Yes, a perfect storm in the position of where they are to fund, to go to state jails that we know are funded by like privately funded, privatized jails. So it's like they built an environment to build criminals to continue to build, to continue to put people in jail. Kamala Harris said something that was really, really poignant to me when she said, if a kid can't read by the 3rd grade, like if they get behind from the 3rd grade, it's like an 80% chance they're either going to end up dead or in jail. And it's 80% chance they're going to drop out of high school. 80% chance they're going to drop out of high school. And once you drop out of high school, the percentages for you to end up dead or in jail are even higher. Right. So we talking about stuff that need to go all the way back to elementary school in regards to just resources, because our neighborhood our schools don't look the way our Palos Verdes County counterparts look. Not at all. And that shouldn't be. Our kids aren't taught the way the Palos Verdes kids, our counterparts, are taught. And that shouldn't be. So all of these things that continue to help our kids slip through the crack ends up having them be even more, susceptible to these crazy sentences. Because there are, because I agree with Golden, like, the families, if the OGs in the hood know that young kids not gonna get more than you're gonna be out by 25, they are gonna start to try to get them up to do all the dirt. Those are things we do have to think about. Those are things we do have to reconcile with. But then also on the flip side of that, there's a lot of kids who weren't gangbangers, who are in jails serving time for gang enhancements just because of who their friend was when they got picked up for something. You know what I mean? Like, so it's very intricate and it's a lot, but I think I would rather err on the side of lower sentencing, because it's going to help us more than being tough on crime. Because even the tough on crime shit that they claim, it disproportionately affects us
Yeah,
because it's more of a class, like you said, Quincy. It's more about money. You know what I mean?
it's like
I argue that because the thing is like if you'll notice, even when you think about even celebrities, the only time that you hear the term jail overcrowding is in reference to somebody white. Bill Cosby is 150,000 years old, and they still got his ass in jail for some stuff that happened 1,000.
Well, you know,
years
that's
ago.
a whole different thing.
But I'm still saying though, okay, let's go younger. You had Paris Hilton, jail overcrowding. We don't need when Lindsay Lohan with coked out, doing all kinds of weird, illegal, crazy shit. Every time she's supposed to go to jail, because of the overcrowding, we don't need to keep her. Little Kim, they got her to do her time. She wasn't out in the day because of overcrowding, and Lil Kim had money.
Well, the prime example. Look, let's fuck it. If Huey P. Newton and Fred Hampton had people rush the Capitol,
everybody would have died.
Yeah.
So I mean, hell, if Obama would have had people rush that Capitol,
they would have shot him in the streets. They would have made they would shot him in the streets.
And that's why I don't know if you guys had a chance. Like I said, if you get a chance, check out Merrick Garland's confirmation here with his questioning for John Ossoff, Georgia. That dude gonna be a future president. They selected a winner. Because his question was directly to Merrick Garland about black folks in the justice system. And he started off by addressing the anniversary of Ahmaud Arbery. And he brought up several contradictories within the system, from powder cocaine to all the differences. And I was actually impressed with Merrick Garland's answer. But the one thing that stood out to me, because I don't know if y'all know, John Ossoff is over the committee that investigate corruption. So he's in charge of that committee. And he asked Merrick Garland, he said, would you and your civil rights department be willing to let my committee know what resources you need to fix the problem when it comes to black people going to prison at a different level than others for committing the same crime? And Merrick Garland was like, yeah, like if you willing to offer those resources, and it was just quite interesting to really see that was a part of an actual confirmation hearing with Attorney General, because I don't know if y'all recall, Bill Barr pretty much dismissed the shit that systematic racism even existed. Yeah. So if you get a chance, they kind of address some of the things that John Ossoff, because it's a lot of people question him. But if you could go on YouTube and look at John Ossoff when he's questioning Merrick Garland about what he would do and the things he would address, and they talk about, he asked him about holding law enforcement officials accountable and all that. So y'all get a chance, go check out that part of the confirmation here. It's very enlightening.
All right, yeah, I will. I want to address this comment from Stuart Lee. He said, "Why aren't the schools demanding more? Everyone gets the same books to learn from." Well, that's not true. We don't all get the same books. Stuart, the inner city schools actually have, and I know this from teaching at a private school and an inner city school, they will have
both.
Yeah, they will have books. If they have the same books, it's 3 volumes behind, like about 10, 15 years behind difference in the books. So no, that's just not factually true. They don't have the same books. And they don't have the same resources. And again, it's not just the books. It's the books and all of the resources that the kids in the schools have to help them to be successful. Because again, we know that kids are funded by the income tax from that neighborhood. So
yeah, and I can tell you, like,
I didn't try to defend Bill Cosby.
I tried to use it as an example. It just didn't work out. But I can tell you that I'm somebody who has got my education on both sides of it. I started off in elementary school at Figueroa Street School, and then I started getting bussed out to Lomita Elementary School for like my second half of elementary school, night and day.
Hold on real quick. Sorry. Everyone, see, Stuart, this that white man in right here. Everyone has the internet. Everyone doesn't have the internet. That's one of the things they're talking about trying to fix. in our city right now.
Right.
It's trying to give free internet for all the kids that are trying to go to school on Zoom. There's some kids who have to go to YMCA just to go to school because they don't have
Their
internet.
parents cannot afford Wi-Fi.
I mean,
It's not a necessity for everybody. Some people cannot afford Wi-Fi.
Look, just every time Republicans want to cut the budget, go look at where they cut at. Education.
The arts first.
It's always education. I mean, just go look at the shit Betsy DeVos was doing. she was killing the education system. So and I know for a fact that I remember when I was at Crenshaw, dude, we had to sit together because the teacher only had about 10 books. So we all had to sit right next to one another to all read off the same book in class.
Yep, I remember
I'll tell you the biggest thing that was different for me was in elementary school, you really should have smaller class sizes. Like at Figueroa Street, I would have classes that was maybe like 40 kids, like 35 kids. Lomita, I don't think any of my classes was more than maybe like 23 kids in the classroom.
I'm at a different place in my life.
Class size has a very big effect on the kind of education you get. For our class trip in the 6th grade, they paid for us to take a trip to Catalina Island. I got to take marine biology classes in the 6th grade in Lomita that fully paid on the boat. You think they had anything like that? It's just a whole different level of exposure. Same thing in Sherman Oaks. Like I went to school in the Valley and then came to Washington for my last 2 years. It was a complete world of difference in terms of the kind of financing, even how clean the school was. It wasn't that any of those jackasses didn't tag on nothing. They just had somebody out there to clean it up the same day. They always have like more effective ways of repairing the things that white kids do, leaving it broken with us and saying, see, that's why we don't fix this, because these black kids break stuff. They destroy bathrooms. I've seen them do horrible, disgusting stuff. Somebody's there to clean it up immediately, like it never happened. Go to Washington, good luck. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
So I think that kind of answers your question, Stuart. So there's literally a difference in the way these kids get to learn. There's a difference in the environment. There's a difference in the resources that these kids get. Like I said, because I taught at a public school and I taught at a private school and in a more affluent neighborhood, I saw how big the difference was. And just if I asked for something at the private school, like I need A, B, C, D, they were like, okay, Monday, I have everything I asked for. If I'm in a public school with more kids that need more, and the crazy thing was like I had, kind of more talented kids were at the public school, but they couldn't flourish because they didn't get the instruments that they needed. They didn't have the books that they needed for class. They didn't have, if I needed songs, I would have to try to find the paper myself. And you probably remember this these days, Sheila. I would have to try to piece together the song myself and go make copies of it myself. I couldn't buy it from the website where you buy songs for the kids to learn with all the parts. I would have to try to either listen to the song and write out all the parts myself, or try to steal one of the parts off the internet and build the rest of the band parts off of the part that I was able to see on the internet and write the music based off of the one part I saw. So just to show you just the discrepancies, I remember we went to band competition. This one I was in high school, not even as a teacher. We went to band competition and we in our little yellow bus where we had to pay like $5 to make sure we had a bus, and you had to pay to make sure the bus stayed. Remember, they were like, if you want the bus to stay, you have to pay an extra $5 a piece per kid. So it's like 150 of us. We had to pay $5 to make sure the bus stayed. We get there, these other schools, these kids had buses with their band name on it, another bus with their just carrying their uniforms, and then they had like a whole crew with their instruments. Like the kids didn't touch the instruments.
Damn, you guys was wearing t-shirt and jeans, huh?
Yep, we had Washington. We had the blue Washington t-shirt. Yep.
Crenshaw the same way, but the band they going against got the full
uniform, like in college.
Yeah.
But the talent that we had in our band could smoke all of their beautiful uniforms.
Oh man.
That's
I kind of disagree with Eric on there, Dame. Can you go back to that comment? He was saying demographics and money. This is by design. This is not just about demographics and money. This is basically, if we take the resources out of the schools, they'll end up in prison so they can work for free. Let's just look at the big picture. That's what this is
Stress
about.
the teachers out.
And
Let's
as long
pay the teachers less. Make them spend out of their pockets for resources.
You know, and then we have people come back and ask why. I mean, because look at the numbers. I mean, we'd like to educate our children the same way you're able to educate your children.
This is
that to me seems fair.
This is why it's called systematic racism.
Yes, you are, Stuart. Yes.
Angela, she has a good point. She said, I mean, there's even a difference between magnet school on the same campus as a regular school.
Man, just
a sure was, especially at Washington.
Hey, I was in magnet and they fucked around, put me in a regular class. I was like, yo, this the Washington they've been talking about. I was like, this the Washington I've been hearing about.
That was like the prerequisite for Los Padrinos. Like that was the regular program at Washington, bro. That was Gen Pop.
What got me, my cousin was like, oh yeah, I'm in SAT prep. I'm like, so fuck us? Like,
yeah,
we can get SAT prep. I'm just not gonna try to go
like to college. Ain't doing nothing anyway.
I was like, he had a whole class SAT prep. I was like, that's a class?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy. The differences are so dramatic. And
even like so like you said, you had regular school, magnet, and continuation on the same campus, and them shits is three completely different worlds. Because Duke Ellington was Oz, nigga.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Duke Ellington was Oz, bro.
Yes,
and then like you said, the regular school was Gem Pop and the magnet. I'm telling you, I didn't know that it was such a separation between the magnet kids and the regular class kids, because when I got into they accidentally put me in a regular science class, and I was like, oh, this the rowdy, crazy Washington. Because before that, I had never been in a regular Gym Pop class, and my classes were smaller sizes. We had the top teachers in the school. Like our teachers would teach at Cal State Dominguez, Cal State LA. Like we had the top teachers, smaller classrooms, AP classes. We had books, we had resources, we had calculators on the same campus. Other kids are like, nigga, we don't get no calculators for our algebra class. Like, literally on the same campus. Like, so yeah, like there is a separation of resources everywhere, and I think that's something that goes back to what we were talking about, even with the crime thing. It goes back to that. These are the resources that changes everything, changes the way kids can move, changes the way kids can learn, changes the way kids even approach and see life. Like,
dude, it's so true. I remember with I think that was the physics with Renfro when we were building rockets outside, and I remember being like in the center part in Washington. And you'll have other kids walking up like, dang, we don't get to do nothing like that in our science class. We want to build this. He had us building we built headphones.
Yep.
We made rockets. And so it wasn't like this is something these other kids wouldn't be interested in. They just weren't exposed to any of it.
I knew something was going on when I saw people walk through Crenshaw campus with doctor coats on. with the scope. I was like, where is this at? Where is it? Where y'all going? Who y'all working on? It's just like that. And then and like Dan said, the continuation was Pelican Bay. So
yeah, buddy, shoe program.
Yeah, it was like
3-hour lockdown.
Yeah, man. So I think I think some of the changes that Gascon is trying to make, I think some of the changes are very sorely needed. But I think because of how bad it's been for the Black and brown community, maybe he went a little too far in trying to correct some things. And I think they'll eventually even it out, I guess you could say. Like, they'll pull back some things. But I think it kind of had to happen in an extreme manner to even get it back to, because it's so extreme the other way, right? It's so extreme the other way. They had to go extreme the other way just to try to balance it. Yeah, to balance it back, because they're going to have to scale back how extreme he went. To scale it back to where now it's actually close to fair. Because right now
we need more fathers home. We need more fathers home to fight to be able to teach these young men how to behave. That's what we need them home for.
But also, Ron, you made a good point, and I've always felt this way. We just can't say, okay, yeah, you did your time and that's it. We have to have programs set up to help people get back on their feet. Because I'm telling you, I saw it in my own household. when my stepfather got out of prison, and Johnny Cochran gave him his first bodyguard job.
Right.
The excitement and the unwillingness to not do bad again was remarkable, because he felt like he was being he was given a second chance, and then that prompted him to go to West LA to get his own electrician license so he could start working on people's homes and things like that. So when you give people, when people know they have a chance, like, oh, I can't get back on my feet, you'll be amazed that how many would take that opportunity. Because getting chased by the police, worried about getting your door kicked in every night, that doesn't really sound all that exciting to live that life. But if you give people the opportunity where we can help them get back into society and give them a second chance. I always felt like, look, if you get a bachelor's degree, we knock out for felony. Why not? Every time you get because and when made me come to that, I had a boy, he got in trouble when he was 18, 35 years old with a master's degree, and nobody was still hiring him for something he did when he was 18.
Wow.
Completely different man, highly educated, master's degree, put himself through school because he couldn't get financial aid.
Right.
Because he couldn't get financial aid, and no one was still hiring him. And see, those are that. And sometimes he used to be like, dude, I felt like I should have just stayed doing what I was doing.
And that's the trap.
Yeah, and that's the issue. When we make them feel like, you know what, no matter how good you are, what you did what you did at 8, and what he did at age 18, he sold weed on a high school campus.
Wow.
That's his big crime.
And that goes to, and then on the other hand, you got, white kids that'll actually commit a rape, and they be like, well, he got so much of his life ahead of him that he don't even get probation.
Hey,
you know
bro,
what I mean?
I know people, I know police officers that have done worse than that, and they still got hired to be a police officer.
Stuart said, are there any quick changes that are effective, or does everything good take too much time? Well, Stuart, I think that's kind of what we're talking about. Some of the changes that Gascon has made have been kind of immediate. The cash bail is a quick change that will be effective, because that'll help a lot of people not be stuck in jail for 1, 2, 3 years waiting for minor offenses, because that happens often in the Black and brown communities. Some of the other changes he's making, some of these crazy sentences that he's shortening, and some of the exorbitant amount of years that people are getting, he's changing some of that. And they're actually working, and this is what you're talking about, Sheila, they are actually working on creating recidivism programs to get people back into the world, to get people back into the community. Like, they're actually working on that. So I think these are some changes, and there are other good changes that are going to take time. And at this point, you can't say too much time, because we've been waiting all this time. But these are the quick changes that we know are happening. So, yeah. All right. So let's talk about recently. And if somebody is a little more versed on me than this, I've seen a lot of celebrities, a lot of community leaders talking about we love our Asian brothers and sisters. Can somebody tell me what's going on, and tell me why that's caught fire? And
From what I've read, it's that a lot of Asian Americans, especially like with all of the MAGA stuff, and there has been focus on us, but you've had a lot of elderly Asian people just attacked for no reason, like a gang of hate crimes. But it's like it kind of started to come about in the Trump era, but for some reason, once we got towards the end of this last year and the beginning of this year, it's been like stupid.
Yeah, it's When Biden did that executive order, like a week, like his third week, I went to go look at, because I wanted to see, because I know he had wrote an executive order that was a kind of addressing all type of different systematic racism within different cultures. But I wanted to see why he was so specific on this. And Sheila's right. Crime at that time, it had went up 500%. When I checked the other day, it's at 1,900% attacks on elderly Asian people. And so I think one Asian man died, like an 84-year-old man died in Oakland or San Francisco, something like that. So they under attack, and this is why when dumbass was calling it the Chinese virus,
the Kung flu,
the Kung flu, and this is why people was against that, because obviously now folks losing money, folks losing their jobs, and they blaming it on one community because where that virus, where we believe the virus came from, and then what this president, what the former president was who he was blaming and targeting with that virus. So it's no coincidence that after Corona, crimes against Asians have gone up significantly.
No, Asians do not have a tougher. When's the last time you saw an Asian die in the back of a cop car or getting murdered by
If you don't cut that shit out, that's why it's a big deal. Because it's new.
Russia bot or what? Like, what is happening right now?
That's why it's a big deal, because they never got their ass wwhooped like this.
Who gets more respect? I just feel like he was trolling on that question. I don't even think he was serious.
This is why it's news, because it's up. I mean, when you talk about 1900%, I don't know what the hell that is mathematically why, but that's pretty damn high. That means it really wasn't happening before this virus. And then the fact that
an easy way to manipulate that statistic, because if it was only like 3 before, and you increase that, you know what I'm saying?
No,
but haven't like really broken a couple of hundred cases. Like,
yeah,
it's still bad, but it can be exaggerated on a statistical scale.
Yeah. So and to Eric's point, people don't know. Folks, they see Asian as Asian. They don't know the difference between Chinese and Japanese and Korean and Vietnamese. And if you look at the people, it's been Vietnamese, Filipinos that's been attacked. So, and the fact that they're attacking the elderly, which is like weird, but it makes sense because they're the most vulnerable. So,
and they're cowards. They don't attack nobody who goes with their ass.
And apparently it's mostly in Oakland, San Francisco, the Bay Area, and then New York City.
New York, yeah. Where
a lot of other attacks are, but a lot of people came under attack under Trump administration. I mean, attacks of African Americans went up, had its highest hate crime rate against African Americans in 28 years under Trump administration. So that's. I mean, he went out having people attacked. So. That's kind of what he do. He light his base, target people, and then let other folks do the dirty work and then wash his hands.
And say, well, he didn't mean it. His defenders say, well, he didn't literally mean that. He just said the words.
But he knew what he was doing when he was calling it the Chinese virus, Kung Flu virus. So the fact that that's why it's such a big deal right now, because they, up north, Northern California, they really attacking them at a very high rate, and they have a huge population up there, huge Asian population up there, Northern California.
I can't dismiss their cause, but I'm sorry, their numbers are not anywhere close to the number of Black people who are being murdered and who are being brutalized.
No,
we have proof are being. We get it on camera, and we got people who still.
Well. See, it's two different issues when people like to compare like Black folks' issues to other folks' issues, right? So, let's say the crime. Let's say agents do get attacked at the same level as Black folks, right? That's one statistic. The other statistic is how many people gonna go to jail for attacking a Black person, killing a Black person, versus the people that's attacking the Asian folks. That's been our issue. Right. People acknowledge we get fucked over, but ain't nobody going to jail for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When it's other races, that's why the Black on Black crime don't ever. That argument never works with me, because we go to jail for killing other Black folks. The
But we're the
issue
only ones
is
to do.
other people don't go to jail for killing us, but we go to jail for killing other people.
Right.
That's the issue.
Right.
We never denied that crime doesn't happen to other people. But the thing is, it seems like only one group of people go to jail for committing crime to other people. But when we're the victim, it's like we're not allowed. Even when we are the victim, people find a way to make us the bad guy. Like Ahmaud Arbery, prime example of that. He was the victim, and they did everything they could. It took them 2 months to acknowledge him, and people putting it on social media to acknowledge that he was the victim. Because for 2 months, he was the suspect. Breonna Taylor, they made her the suspect. You go down the list. Every time we are killed, every time we are the victim, people still somehow make us the suspect. We're not allowed to be victims. And that's the issue when anytime people want to make this compare and contrast between what happened to this group of people to what happened to black folks.
Stuart, to answer your question,
that's what I'm like, bruh.
If you look at almost any piece of civil rights, black people have been a part of everybody's civil rights. Everybody ain't been a part of our civil rights.
He's got to be a Fox News intern.
You know what I mean? Like you look at even on the front line of, there's black people on the front line of the LGBTQ. There's black people on the front line with this even this Asian situation. I didn't find out from other Asians what was going on. I found out from other black people. So that's even how I found out. Even when it comes to something anti-Semitic, a lot of black people jump on the front line for that too. We are the only ones who jump on the front line for anybody that's going through some bullshit. Everybody don't jump on that same front line to us. Yeah, so yes, black people really care about other races.
Yeah, I mean,
to answer your question.
well, yeah, that's a lot of people say that's our problem, that we care too much about other people.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
So I mean, the fact that every time someone does something to us, we up there forgiving them, we giving them hugs in the courtroom, we showing compassion to folks.
I think he was fun.
We showing compassion.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he ain't the only one. There's been multiple people, black folks.
Yeah. The person who murdered your brother for no reason.
There's been multiple black people.
Yeah, because you have people came out, the kids of some of the people that was killed in Charleston came out doing the same thing,
hugging the person who murdered.
Not hugging, no, but they forgiving them. Like, to me, it ain't no difference.
Yeah,
to me, it ain't no
difference. No, I thought the hugging was.
Well, a lot of times that's not even allowed. The judge allowed that because you really don't trust family members, because you got some family members that use that shit and get close to the suspect. So a lot of times, so the judge really put herself out there allowing that to happen. But but all the time showing compassion for. Well, he said, give an example when that police officer killed that white lady in Minnesota who was unarmed, who was right there with them protesting. It was black people. Go check it out. I forgot her name, but you guys know what case I was talking about, right?
I know what you. Yeah, I know case.
Yeah, it was black folks. We always showing compassion and love, and hell, that was people issue with Dr. King. That he was showing too much compassion and love to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get into this next topic. Maintaining relationships during the pandemic. I don't know if you guys have seen, but some of the statistics has come out, and divorce has went up. Like, I think it went up like 35% since the beginning of the pandemic. And I mean, you gotta think.
You should talk first on this one, Dang.
How do you like? What's your secret? Because
I found, and me and Angela actually laugh about this. I found in the pandemic that we actually like each other. That's
real. I've heard because I've heard the opposite. Like, hey, I didn't know who I was with until I had to live with this motherfucker every day.
Inspiring.
Well, think about it, Sheila. Most times when people work, they probably only spend 3 hours together, 3 or 4 hours together a day, right, for the whole week. So you're talking about maybe 12 hours 12 hours out of a week these people spend with each other. So you only getting the good bits because I get home from work. I want to tell you about my day. You want to tell me about your day. We want to eat dinner. We want to get the kids ready. We want to go to fuck the bed. That's it. You know what I mean? And especially, you know, so now you got people who have to sit, and you sitting for 24 hours a day in the same space, occupying the same space, occupying the same TVs, the same living room. Like, there is no really escaping, especially when it was on super lockdown. You know what I mean? Like when it was really on super, there is no escaping. So you really gonna find out if you like this motherfucker that's in the house with you. Like,
I just didn't expect you to say that. That's why I laughed. You were like, "Yeah, we just found out that we actually like each other."
Well, no, because I think, and let me say this: I think so many people relationships are based only on romantic love.
Yes.
That when you have to sit past the romantic part and you have to sit in like the real life shit of friendship, I think that's where a lot of these relationships have been getting lost in the sauce, because the romantic part was good, but the foundation of the other things probably aren't there. Like, Sheila, have you ever had a dude that you liked?
No.
No, right. Have you ever had a dude that you liked? And this is on a smaller scale, a dude that you liked, the romantic side was good, probably even the sex was good. But as the more you got to know this person fully, like the full breadth of the full person, you like, I don't really like this motherfucker.
Yes.
It's the same thing, but marriage, sometimes it takes a little longer because people be excited. They only see the good bits of each other. And even when you're courting somebody, even if y'all live together, same thing. You only seen each other 3 to 4 hours at a time. So you can get the good bits.
I married him. Like, I was it's like less learned.
So Dame, do you think that with it being a pandemic and COVID, that people are seeing how unselfish or selfish considerate that their mate is? Because there's some sacrifice and lifestyle and things through COVID that you have to do that you can't do because you could bring that shit home to your family.
Oh yeah, I've seen some sacrifices, and I'll give you some examples. Like there's you know, even some people in my family, like you have some people who are really like vigilant about making sure they have masks on when they're around the older people in our families, and some people are vigilant about making sure that they stay, even if they went out somewhere, they stay socially distanced, or if they travel somewhere, they literally not coming to my mom's house for 14 days, or they stand away. Then you got other people who reckless as hell, like they'll be like at a party and then be trying to come over, and my mom be like, yeah, no, you're not coming over. You know what I mean? And I think about that on that scale, and imagine it's you trying to tell your mate, you can't do this. You can't come to my family house because of this. And the mate is like, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, you're going to get to see how, because some things you have to do. And I was telling somebody this, I said, look, even if you don't, because somebody had put on their Facebook that they didn't believe COVID was real. They were like, it's a planned pandemic for money or some shit. I said, even if you believe that, because they were like, I'm just going to live my life. And if y'all want to be scary out here, that's on you.
And just kill other people.
And that's what I said. I said, well, even if I don't believe it, I'm healthy and able-bodied. But even if I don't believe it, I should at least be unselfish enough to respect my parents' wishes, who are vulnerable, who can't be reckless. And even if they're not being reckless, I could bring it to them. I was talking to a friend of my mom's today, and she said a friend of hers, her son was being reckless, kept going in and out of the house, and they kept asking him, please stop going out of the house. And he was like, oh, everything is good. His mom died. His mom died from COVID, and he was the only one who brought it back home to her. That's something that he's going to have to live with now. You know what I mean? So yeah, you really get to see how selfish or how unselfish people are. And I'm lucky, like, you know, I got my little man cave. So when I need to get away, and when we got our spaces, we have our own space, which is important. I think that's important to have your own spaces. Yeah, to have your own spaces and not be all the way on top of each other in this pandemic. But so when it's time that I need a break, or sometimes she needs a break, and then me and the kids don't come back to the man cave, and I'm gonna have the kids back here chilling with me. You know what I mean? Just be like, yo, she about to go crazy and smack the shit out of everybody. We gotta leave. You understand what I'm saying?
No, so, it was half the battle.
Yeah, and then it's like I said, we get past the regular surface. How was your day? And you start to really get into real conversations, and you get into really talk about stuff that you probably wouldn't talk about just because we now have so much time together. You know what I mean? So and also I think you get to see what each other's days look like, what each other's work life really looks like, and what each other's sacrifices look like, and how you can better you either look and you could be like, oh, I didn't know that they was dealing with this, and I could try to be a better partner to help out. Or you could be like, damn, that's crazy, and then continue to not give a shit, which I think is what's leading to a lot of the breakups and divorces that you're seeing, is that people are realizing that they have a selfish partner, and then people are realizing that they don't want to be more than what they are or have been, because for some people that's probably just too much. Like, I've never had to give that much. Because of the pandemic, I have to give so much more of myself than I've ever had to give. I don't have the capacity to give more than that, so I'm out.
And I'm sure for you, being somebody that's a musician, where you could easily go somewhere and make some money, go to Georgia and play for somebody that is like, that's a sacrifice that you have to make, not go to Vegas, because some places are still having concerts.
Yep.
And so you have to really make that sacrifice, like as much as you probably need the money and want the money, that bringing it back home to your wife or your kid or your family.
Yeah, because when I get those calls, but for the damn near the first 8 months, when I got those calls, it was just a no. Like, no, I'm not. And then when it started to open up a little bit, then we had those conversations, and both of us still felt like it's a no, but it was a conversation. You know what I mean? It would at least turn to a conversation. But like you said, Quincy, so then it turns into a bigger thing than just, oh, I need to get out here and get on stage. I need to get my money. It turns into, if I go out there, will I come home, bring it to my kids, bring it to the wife, take it to my parents? Again, because it's bigger than just the individual. And I think if more people understood that and operated in that way, I think you would see the numbers would have dropped huge, because the biggest problem is there was not enough people taking heed. There were not enough people who were like, for all the people that were locked down, you probably had 2 people who were still going to parties. Yeah. So how the numbers going to drop if them 2 people still going to parties going to come back and bring it to all the people who were locked down? So I could, it's so many nuances to it, but I do think the biggest thing is how is the foundation of the friendship outside of the romantic love? Because I think so many people depend on only romantic love to sustain a relationship. And honestly, to me, that can only last so long, just the romantic shit. Like, the romantic shit is only going to take you so far. So you did this time has probably like tested a lot of the sustainability. I want to ask Ron how he been coping, with because I see Ron and his wife, they look like they've been thriving in the pandemic. So Ron, tell us, give us, your play.
Well, that's for the internet. Shit, we don't even like each other. We just be up here acting. No, but I mean, I can hear you, Sheila, but I can't hear Dane.
Oh, I muted myself so we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear it? All right, cool. Yeah. Sorry about that. But no, I mean, we just like you said, we've been having more conversations. We've been doing more. I've been giving more, trying to do little things like wash dishes and try to just lend my hand more, because I've been home. I usually was out of the house most of the time when I was working. And when I'm allowed to work now from home, it's just allowed me to be home and kind of take some of the chores away from her. I don't help cook. I know I should, but I mean, when you got somebody that does something well, I take the trash out well. So she does the cooking well. So, shit. Well, I think y'all can still hear me, but yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. It's just about compromise. It's about, being there for each other and also holding each other accountable. That's something that we had a big conversation on. Is just like kind of doing what we say we're going to do. If you can just do what you say you're going to do, and a person can know that you have their back, you're going to do what you say you're going to do, then you can grow from there. But the first key is being able to just admit your wrongs and say, sometimes, I didn't do this right, or I didn't do that. That was on me. I'll correct that. Let me know next time if there's something bothering you. So that communication has grown, as you see, we just get to spend more time with each other. And that for me is like the key. I think it's brought us much closer. My beard's grown longer. I can say that.
Okay, and I think to that point, and I don't know if you mind me saying this, Ron, but I know you too have been on a personal journey to personally become like a better husband, a better black man. Like, cause me and you had those discussions where you was like, "Yo, there are some things that I need to work on and I need to fix," and I think this time has helped you with perspective on a lot of things. So you probably do have a different kind of empathy for your wife that you probably didn't have before. You know what I'm saying? Just because of
I'm here. I'm here. I mean, it's easy to kind of not pay attention to things when you're not around as much, but when you're there, you got to kind of live with it. And I've definitely looked in the mirror, and that to me is the key, is seeing what you do wrong, correcting those wrongs because you care about somebody. I mean, if you don't care, if I didn't care, then it's time to move on to allow that person to grow somewhere else. But I don't want to be that selfish person. I want to give as much back as possible. So I'm gonna definitely be there for my wife and for the family, because it's not just the wife. I've gotten closer with the kids. We're doing things together. Me and Cam go out riding, and I mean, to me, it's been wonderful. It's the way life should be.
Yeah, man. And on the flip side, I want to ask my single folks, how has it been navigating the dating world in this pandemic? Because I couldn't imagine.
It is not for the faint at heart. I'm going to say that. It's not for the faint at heart. I really am looking for, I completely agree with what you're saying. I'm looking for more of a friendship. I just want a friend that I'm attracted to, somebody that I can trust and just really get along with. I have, just like how you and Angela are, my sisters, both of my older sisters have marriages like that, where they could go to the lamest party ever, be at like the most terrible event. You are still going to see them sitting together, cracking up in a corner somewhere. They can still have the time of their lives just together. And that kind of stuff is inspiring to me. And it's something that gives me hope. But being honest, like being over 40 and single again is kind of like yard sale shopping. Like you just looking for like the least damaged shit to try to, take home and do something with. And I do not feel discouraged though, because I feel like I have had a lot of personal growth and I'm a good person. So I can't possibly be arrogant enough to believe that I'm the only good person out here. I just need,
Did she freeze?
Yeah, I thought it was me. That's why I'm moving my head. Like, did she freeze? She said she don't want no yard sale Negroes. She don't want no bargain basements.
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Well, shit. You can't. Sheila, can you hear me?
I'm gonna remove her and bring her back. I'm gonna remove her and bring her back.
Okay. Shit, it's non-existent, really. I mean, until one of them dudes being selfish during the pandemic fuck up, then I can't believe I said.
It's slim picking,
I mean, yeah, you can't, because you can't. I mean, if you care about COVID, your dating life ain't popping. So you have to be safe, because what I don't want to do is go out with some girl or something, then bring something back to my mom. So or one of my family members or my kids or anyone. So it's kind of not. I mean, you kind of talk to people through social media. We kind of do cyber dating. We'll share some pictures in Hawaii and act like we're there. I don't know. You just kind of have to. You just kind of have to be creative, but for the most part, what it has allowed me to do is have better conversations with people. I think, because you can't really hang out with folks, so you kind of forced to talk, and versus go out bullshit, have them quiet moments. Because if you had those quiet moments on the phone, conversation is pretty much dead at that point. But it's pretty much non-existent as far as dating for me, because like I said, I kind of took COVID serious from the gate, so I wasn't about to risk my family or nobody because I'm single. I think I could do another year and a half or whatever. But you still have an opportunity to meet people and talk to them, and like I said, it kind of challenged you to really have better conversation that you probably would have.
A better vetting process, huh, Q?
Yeah, much better vetting process.
Yeah.
Because
because
it's all the superficial, the looks, and all that stuff is out the way. So
right.
You actually you gotta really,
like, what do you think?
Yeah, you gotta be.
People find out they spouse are Trump fans. Like, wait a damn second, you like Trump?
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of stuff.
You really have to be able to talk to people and get to really know them, because, like I said, like all the superficial stuff is kind of. You go check out some pictures, but in the end, you kind of like forced to talk to whoever you like and try to date. So it's it's fine. Damn, you on mute.
I said, I guess that's one pro to it. If you do actually find somebody, you get to like have a better chance at really getting to know them. Like you have a better chance at having those first, second, and third date conversations, but without the representative bullshit, right? Like without all the other shit in the way. Like you get to have these real conversations that you otherwise probably wouldn't have till date 10. You're now having them on 3 because y'all talking constantly, and it's a constant, it's a constant conversation. So I think that will be one pro to, trying to build in a pandemic. And I think that's for trying to date and for relationships that are already there. You know what I mean? Like, because I think one thing that this pandemic has shown, either your relationship has gotten stronger or it has crumbled. You know what I mean? It's hard to have like an in between. It's either been like it's really got a little better, got stronger, or it's just the shit becomes non-existent. Like it's been crazy, some of the conversations I've had with some people in regards to this situation. To something I want to talk about that Quincy brought up to me. I don't know if all you guys saw, and because I just want to touch on this because I think it's something that we want to talk about from a generational standpoint. But Cam Newton was at a camp that he was having for some kids, and in this camp, one of the kids, football
no mask
camp,
on, no nothing.
A football camp, and one of the kids was talking shit to Cam, like, "Oh, nigga, you a free agent though," at his camp. You know what I mean? And it went viral. And basically, the kid lightweight was saying, "Well, you trash because you're not even on the team right now." I think there's something really going on with this generation where they think it's okay to talk to adults like this, because I've seen it too many times. This is not an isolated incident, and I've seen it even from some of the kids that I used to teach. If they didn't know about the people I worked with, if they didn't know about the platinum plaques and shit that I had, they talked to me a certain way until they found out. Then they would change their tune. But I'm like, you shouldn't treat me a certain way because of what you think. You know what I mean? It's like, so I've dealt with that too. Like I've dealt with that kind of behavior, and I know one of the things that I was able to see the difference was when I would go to school and my teacher would tell on me to my mom. It would be the teacher and my mom on my ass, like, yo, you got to get it together, da da da. Now when I would do parent conference, it would be the teacher. It would be the mom and the student against the teacher. You don't talk to my child like that. You can't tell them what to do. He only got one mama. He only got one daddy. You know what I mean? Like, so the conversation had totally changed in the form of discipline, or even the way that the power structure is looked at with teachers. And I'm sure some of you know, they even took the power to punish from a lot of teachers. Like you can't even send kids to the principal's office no more. Like you'll get in trouble for kicking kids out your class type shit. So they know that. The kids know this too. They know, like, oh, you can't kick me out, or you can't send me nowhere. So I think that breeds I think that breeds this kind of behavior. And I know, Ron, we were talking about it in the sports group, and you was like, Cam should have just walked away. I think he should have checked it. I don't think that's something, a comment like that, I don't think you walk away from. I think that's the kind of comment you have to check. Like, you have to check those kind of comments, because that kid, like, Cam Newton is he went to the Super Bowl, Heisman winner, first round pick, and been in the league for 10 years. So it ain't like he like a free agent after 2 years. He's been in the league for 10 years and been a franchise quarterback for like 8 of them.
I don't care if he did the Park League. If he's there to help your dumb ass and you in the camp, you need to shut up and be respectful. I don't care if he was never even in the pros. If somebody's there to help you, but that comes from parenting. That's got to be taught. And just like you said, the parents are too focused on, my mama was like this and my mama was so harsh on me, so I'm going to be friends with my kids. You ain't supposed to be friends with your kids until they're adults. You're supposed to be cool with them, but y'all ain't supposed to be friends until they are grown. And people get that mixed up. You got either women who treating these boys like that's their man, or you got these women trying to get their youth and their daughter and acting like they homegirls and they in the club together and stuff like that. And some stuff just, you know, it's got to be taught from the parent.
Yeah.
And
my issue, man, my issue was that everything you both have said. It just, I remember it was like a basketball camp, and I was at, and Michael Cooper showed up. I can't imagine it running through my head to tell Michael Cooper, look, you don't even start. Magic started over you. You don't even start. Like you're a bench player. Not only Michael Cooper probably would have slapped the shit out of me because he was built like that, but my mom would have probably choked the hell out of me. I don't. This generation is like I was pointing to my son. I was telling him, I said, as competitive, as stubborn Kobe was, he was on the court with Michael Jordan asking him questions about his game. But how can you help me? So I can, and so to have a kid at somebody's camp, and what bothers me, you're in this guy's sport. Like Dame said, like if you're a musician and you got L.A. Reid, Babyface, and Teddy Riley there, you're like, well, that album was whack when you dropped that. like you know what I'm saying? It's like you in here, you're trying to get to where these people are. You're trying to get to where Cam Newton is, and for a kid to even come to the account and challenge him like that was just mind-boggling to me. But I kind of see it. I see it throughout this generation, even in the music industry. One thing about our generation is they always pay homage to those. That's how we know who Marvin Gaye is. That's who we know. That's how we know who Stevie Wonder is. My son, the reason why I make sure, hey, oh, you like Michael Jackson? Let me show you Jackie Wilson. Let me show you James Brown, because you don't get Michael Jackson without James Brown and Jackie Wilson and Fred Astaire, and you don't get Chris Brown without Michael Jackson and Prince, and you go down the line. Like we was more in tune with the historical content with whatever we were into, whether it was basketball, we knew about Kareem, Bill Russell, whoever it was. We always understood the historical content of whatever we was following and supporting. And it's like these kids, it's like, and that's why they say wild shit like Jacquees is the GOAT, because they have no historical context of why you here, you know, like yeah, like okay, you at Cam Newton camp, but I bet you this kid had no idea who Randall Cunningham is, you know, who Warren Moon is, who Doug Williams is, and it's like that's why they have no appreciation of those before them, because I don't know. Like I said, I think it's more towards the parenting. I don't know, because social, and you would think with Google, because you can Google the people I'm saying and talking about that. That's why I love the fact when my son was following T-Pain and then he discovered Roger Troutman and he was able to put together that correlation. It was like, yeah, like you always go see you know, why is this person here? Why does this person exist? And here you are at a man's camp being disrespectful, and you trying to get like Cam Newton. Very few black quarterbacks have been to the Super Bowl. Before when Cam Newton go to that Super Bowl? 2007, 6. So we're talking about before Cam Newton even went to that Super Bowl. How many black quarterbacks can you actually name that actually went to a Super Bowl, that led a team to a Super Bowl? And so for that kid to be that damn disrespectful, it was just my because I was like, I couldn't imagine any of us. We had Dr. J camp or whoever camp, and we just talking shit like that and just being highly disrespectful. But like Dame said, it's not an isolated incident. I see how I see it in the music industry, how they talk about previous artists and they dismiss people who was legendary before them. They completely dismiss their career, or actors, you know, and it just boils down to this generation of kids, how they really don't have no appreciation for those that paved the way for them. And I don't know if it's parent failing or society just failing as a whole with that.
Well, the Super Bowl you was talking about was 2016. The Super Bowl was 2016, and before that, I think you're talking about the Seahawks quarterback, the Titans quarterback, and then motherfucking Doug Williams. You know what I'm saying? For
you ain't even filled up one hand. Like,
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. And Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. Kaepernick. Yeah.
Let me read this comment from KG. I noticed that parents of a certain younger age are admiring their children and not raising them. They have to sense on compassion, empathy, or respect in general. That's a good point. I don't think generation bias has anything to do with it. Some kids are mouthy. If politely clever, they are adored. If a little more arrogant, they are admonished. But disrespect is a sin we all commit chronically for a variety of personal reasons. What's the solution? It's a burden to all mankind, right? I want to get Ron's take on it, because I know, Ron, you said he should have walked away, so I want to hear your take on it.
Well, I mean, my take always deals with how we deal with children. And when I hear a grown man who is in the NFL, who has won a Super Bowl, say, "But I got money," to a child, that's what kind of turned me immediately off on what Cam was saying. Now, I agree with everyone. The child was inappropriate. It was something, but I also need the context of what they were talking about before that videotape started rolling. Because if they're both going back and forth, and then we just take one part of what happened, which is maybe Cam said something to the kid that was a little funny, everybody laughed, and then now he's coming back harder. So I think there was a lot less context provided, but I agree, you know, children, I mean, and people can just go, you know, my take can be this, but you can just go based off our children. I mean, our children would never say anything like that to an adult, or especially someone that's in that position trying to teach them something. But I just think sometimes we need full context. I think the kid can grow from that. He can get better than that. You know, he's still a young man, and you know, looking at his press PR release, he already has people in position to write apologies for him. So it seems that this may be something for him to grow. I just want that kid to understand you're on the clock now, because people are going to be watching you. You know, whether you make it or not in the NFL, people are going to be saying, okay, this was the kid that was at Cam Newton's camp. He's going to such and such college. He didn't even make it to D1. Okay, this is the kid that did this. So he put himself in a position to have to deal with, you know, with an adult's world. And I think that's going to be his punishment. But for me, Cam was just being Cam. I don't really, you know, I respect him as a man, but I really just don't jive with what Cam does, some of the cooning and stuff he does, you know. So it was, to me, Cam being Cam. I got money. He said something else. Oh, where's your dad at? Now, had he not said I got money, I would not have taken "Where's your dad?" Had his first reaction been "Where's your father at?" I prefer to speak to him in this fashion than to come at you and like something, you know, had he done that. But when he first came, his initial reaction was, "I got money." And that to me is the biggest problem that people that have money tell children. You know, just because you have money don't make you a good person. Just because you have money don't make you this and that. You know, this is a perfect example to be an educator to a child. And to say, you know what, okay, if you feel that way, then okay, there's a way to go about it. He just was a bigger child in that situation. And does that take away from the child? No, the kid's wrong. but I think Cam could have handled that much better and had a mask on the top.
Well, I think if you saying to me, nigga, you a free agent, I'm probably gonna come back with I'm rich too. Like, yeah, nigga, I'm a free agent, but I'm rich. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's something I would never say. I'm just speaking for myself. I would never mention money to a child.
Yeah, he said something referred to him as being broke. And I think that's what triggered the I'm rich. But either way, I do agree with your notion.
No. What he said is that he's going to be broke because he's a free agent. So he was like, "Hey, I got money," but he was like, "But you're gonna be broke. You're a free agent." So that was more of that energy.
Exactly. So it's like, it's not like he just said I'm rich for no reason. He literally said because the nigga's kid told him he was gonna be broke.
No. Cam said that first, and then, well, I mean, I don't know the order, so let me not mix it up. But I just thought Cam's reaction was inappropriate for an adult, and personally, I wouldn't have had to have Cam kick my child out the thing. I would have taken my child, and I would have got on my child in the car. But I also wouldn't want my child to be going back there, to deal with an adult that's going to use money, but again, my child probably wouldn't have that exchange. So it wouldn't, but I just saw fault on both sides. And I think the kid has much more room to grow, whereas Cam's an adult.
Because I'll even go as far as to say it's been times where I've had opportunities to go to nice places. And my mama was one of those people, no bones, who would be like, don't embarrass me out here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think it's healthy to... Kids don't fear their parents a lot of times anymore. And
I didn't grow up fearing my parents.
To be terrified. I'm not saying that you need to be terrified, but I think that there is something to being scared of at least one of your parents and it doesn't have to be the kind of fear like, oh my God, they're going to kill me. I think it's a healthy fear if you say, hey, I'm scared to disappoint my parents.
So what do we do when those kids use that fear and that anger and then it comes back to other people? So it's kind of a double-edged sword when you deal with fear.
But you're talking about, I think that fear is not always something that is completely unhealthy. I think that a certain amount of fear can be something that is a protection for you and something that draws boundaries that you are not willing to walk outside of. Now, yes,
if fear is a lack of understanding.
I don't think always. I mean, I'm scared to walk on the edge of cliffs because I can fall off of that shit. That's a healthy fear. That's not like, oh, something's wrong with you because you don't want to walk on the side of cliffs like I see these crazy or those people in those narrow paths on those bikes that just do this. They're not even really getting money. They just risking their life for no reason. I'm scared of things like that. But I think that is a healthy fear to not want to, even bungee jump or something like that.
I wasn't referring to those types of fears, but I get what you're saying.
But I'm saying, but there's so many different types of fears. I'm just saying, like, growing up, I was scared of my dad. Like, I was scared of my mom, but I was scared. I did not want to have to deal with my dad.
Do you feel that the kids you educate should fear you?
Huh?
Yeah, what?
Do you feel that kids you educate should fear you?
I think some should. Let's be clear. I think they should respect you, but a lot of times with that respect, there's a bit of fear with the people that you highly respect.
You have a fear of disappointing.
Yeah.
Or fear of consequences. Is like that kid. Yeah. That kid had no fear either way, no fear of disappointing or no fear of consequences. And I think that could be more damning than anything, because when they get out into those streets, they take that same mentality. When you don't fear consequences or you have no respect, that's when we got a problem.
Yeah, and I think Sheila, I think you were right when you were saying like a healthy fear, because I think there's a difference. So I'm not saying I want the kids to fear me like I'm gonna whoop your ass, right? But I want them to fear the circumstances that will happen if they don't do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I want them to know, like,
rational fear.
Yeah, like I know if they don't do the things that I've asked them to do, I do want them to fear consequences, which they should.
Yeah, I mean, that's just not our method. But again, how people deal with their children is just it's all unique. Fear for us though it's kind of a no bueno. The fear should be of you not succeeding. I mean, but anything you do, we deal in consequences. Like, so if you make that choice, then you just have to deal with the consequences.
Well, yeah,
so, that's just really all it is.
To deal with those consequences.
Yes, but we're just not the parents that are going to deal with the consequences for you. That's the difference. And so, like, you dig in that hole, you're gonna have to get yourself out. You know, so you make this. I mean, because there's, you know, and that's how I was raised. So I mean, that's just how I've been taught. You know, and I've made some decisions. I wanted to do this, and that, and it turned out this way. Okay, you got to do what you got to do. And
I think,
I guess
I think in the end, this is a great lesson for this young man. I was happy to see that somebody in his circle made him apologize, and I'm rooting for him because I know how folks get. They forget that they see these kids on social media and they forget, and then he's still a kid, and he made a mistake, and I think now hopefully this is a lesson for him that, look, you know, how you come off, what you say, and who you say it to could really damage you down the line in your future, you know. And when you have somebody, when you that close to somebody who has had a success, has had great success in where you're trying to go, you should be in their ear asking so many questions versus attacking them. You should be, what's your workout regimen? What do you eat? What you do on Saturday? What's the first thing you do? How do you read your playbook? Like whatever it is, or can I watch film with you? You know, whatever it is, when you in someone's profession, you should be trying to drain whatever wisdom. And I think that's what I was looking for earlier. We was more in tune, whether it was from our grandparents, uncles, or whatever. We was hungry for wisdom. And I think these kids kind of feel like they know it all, like they got it all figured out. And so hopefully he'll learn from this lesson. He'll grow from it, and we'll look back on this, and he'll be great in the NFL. And this would be, you know, the turning point for him, which showed him the way.
Because then you have people like what is that the ugly snitch rapper, look like Animal from the Muppets.
Man, I'm so
what was his name?
6ix9ine.
Him. You could tell his mom ain't, like, nobody ever taught him anything about any kind of respect for anyone. And look at how far he's been able to take it in his life. And these are the kind of people that a lot of these young kids are looking at.
Yeah, that's a great example, Sheila. Yeah, that's true. I mean,
because I'm still shocked that this nigga's still walking around like I don't think he probably will for that long in the future. But I'm just kind of shocked that he is still walking around right now and just still talking trash and pulling stunts and thinks this is okay.
Well, you made a good point, because what he did was in our generation.
Right.
That's pretty much a death sentence.
Right.
But in this generation, if you go look, they
support that shit.
They support them. It's okay. And you know, I'm not the no thugs, you know, snitches get stitches and all that. But I do, you know, for regular civilians, shit, if you see something, tell. But when you're participating in gangs and selling drugs and you putting hits out on people, and then when you get caught, you decide you're going to tell on everybody else and don't face accountability yourself. I have an issue with that when you're actually a participant in criminal activity. And to me, that's different than you are an innocent person minding your own damn business, and somebody does something to you, and you call the cops, or you want their ass to go to jail, or whatever. You want some.
Let me address this statement. As an adult, you always take teens with a grain of salt, because we were all that dumb. I was never that dumb, bro. Like even when I was a dumb teenager, I didn't talk to adults like that. No. And most of
the difference is, Dame, they were able to whoop your ass back then. You can't whip children now. That was the difference. Is once they took away the ability to fucking whip their ass, that's when they became what you see today.
I'm outside of the statute of limitations on this right now, but I used to hit my kids at lock when I was there, and they would act like I didn't love them if I didn't. That's the crazy part. Like they'll come up,
and that's what we're dealing with. Kids that feel loved because you're beating them.
Yeah.
I ain't take out no rich. My kid all the time.
Like I still don't cuss in front of old people. Like,
right. It's respect.
Like,
Because they'll still beat your ass. They don't believe in these laws.
And that's but that's something I grew up like. My mom didn't cuss in front of my grandmother.
Right.
You know, and my mom was grown. She still didn't just sit up there and let off bombs like that.
I don't cuss in front of other people, grandma.
Yeah, me neither.
Let alone
I
mine.
cuss in front of my mom.
That's why I was mad when Chandra told me her parents watched this. I was like, dog, you gotta give me a hand signal.
We can't say anything
because I get around Chandra parents and I don't talk like this. So her mom be like, yeah, I saw the show Quincy. I was like, oh damn,
shit.
I'm up here letting no bombs. Like, give me a warning.
But they understand you passionate. They understand you're a good person.
Yeah,
so
but
you got to take context with cursing.
But also they see the contrast because I would never talk the way I talk
like that.
on the show in front of them. And so no, we wasn't raised like that because we had
our ass whooped.
Yeah,
but I mean, can we just agree with that? That's the reason we didn't do some of the shit these kids do today. You know, from paddles, because I went to school. We had paddles. I went to private schools. I'm talking about like real paddles, ass whoopings at school.
Catholic school.
You know, yeah, Catholic school, exactly. So, you know, shit. You want to fix it? Allow nice ass whoopings in school. Them paddles change lives. Paddles have changed a mini life.
But see, then there's the fine line, because then you started having adults who were abusive with that ability and not just using it the way it's supposed to be used.
Did the kid die? I bet they're a good upstanding citizen today. They got a little mark on their ass and nobody see, but they're good.
No, you can say whatever you want to. When I went to school out in Torrance, they had this punishment called the blocks, and I'd rather take a paddle than this punishment. They would have these yellow blocks that you just stand on. Like you could eat your lunch at lunchtime, and you had to stand on the blocks. You couldn't say anything. You couldn't sit down. You just had to stand there and watch all the other kids play.
That kind of fuck with you.
They was on leg day. Yeah, that's leg day,
bro.
Like, that's a mental
jail sentence. If the teacher was like, if y'all get in trouble, you on the blocks for a week. Like, bro, I've seen people flip out. Like
that's a form of that's like jail.
Like nobody wanted to be on the blocks.
Yeah. That's like some torture shit in China.
It was. They had some
private school
there to watch you to make sure you didn't move. You couldn't do nothing. You just had to watch everybody else have fun.
Yeah, is that a private school?
No, I was in a magnet program at Lameda Fundamental.
Okay. Got you.
But man, that was horrible. I'd rather just take the hit and get it over with. Punishment, bro.
I bet Cam slapped the shit out of his ass. He wouldn't say that again, huh? But we all be saying Cam was wrong.
No. Cam was got sued. Man, you know,
I know that when he gonna slap him. But the shit would have been funnier than the motherfucker.
With a neck brace on,
but you know what though?
He wouldn't go to kid.
He wouldn't go to Charles Oakley camp though.
Hell no. Oh hell no. He don't give a fuck.
Hey, Charles Oakley was slapping NBA players doing the warm up.
He'll slap the owner of the Knicks. As we told him, I'll slap your ass.
Hey, Jay, who was that Charles Oakley slapped?
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, he owed him some money.
He owed him some money, and he went over there doing a warm up and slapped him in the middle of the warm up. Charles Oakley, a different beast.
I gotta look this up. Charles
that ain't the only person he slapped. Charles Oakley, any young player that got out of the line, he was socking people. Like,
did they do it again? Nope. See, they won championships.
He slapped Scottie Pippen. I didn't know that.
He slapped everybody. Shit.
He slapped everybody. That's just the beginning.
If he don't slap you, he don't love you. That's his thinking.
No, but it was somebody right before a game. They was warming up, and I guess Charles Oakley told me.
It was on the Knicks, huh?
Yeah. I guess
I know who you're talking about too.
Charles
because the dude got traded. Yeah, the dude got traded.
Right, they traded him because he
slapped. He slapped Tyrone Hill.
All right, man. Well, look, this has been a great show. We didn't get to go to the pros and cons of reopening schools, but I know it's gonna take a while, so we'll get to that later. We ain't got a chance, so we don't got no DM tonight. But
we don't trust Quincy with him no more.
So
had grandma out here.
You know what I'm saying? The bobblehead grandma and everything.
Hit you with the M. Night
I
Shyamalan.
hope Chan Mama wasn't watching that one.
Can't even send grandma with your spouse no more on lunch, huh? She gonna make her a snack. Say, grandma, so I do groceries too.
Ew.
Yeah. All right. So we want to thank everybody for joining. We'll see y'all next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And if y'all get a chance, check out Angela's show, the Come and Talk to Me show on YouTube, on her Instagram.
You for so very long.
Hey, look, I almost made that the theme song.
How you have a show called Come and Talk to Me and don't play that?
That's not where it came from.
Because I ain't paying them.
That's right.
Oh, you said
you're not supplying their habits.
They need endorsements, man.
Because I ain't paying for that sync. That shit don't go to them.
Man.
I ain't paying that publishing. Nope.
Right.
So if y'all get a chance, check out Angela Come and Talk to Me show. She had a great show with Jill. They do a lot of stuff about Black women and Black women issues, Black shit, period. But I think Black women really would enjoy this show because it's conversations that I feel like I feel like I'm being led on the inside of conversations that I don't see Black women have when I watch this show. So check out Come and Talk to Me on Instagram. Come and Talk to Me on YouTube. And yeah, let me know what y'all think. Like, share, and subscribe, and do the same thing for Uncouth Radio. And we got some new merch up. The plotting hoodie. Plan, plot, strategize, mobilize, organize. So go check that out on tedrip.com. And hey, man, we'll see y'all back here next week. Hopefully, we'll have the whole crew back soon. But this was a great show. Everybody, Rose Gold holding it down, and y'all go follow Rose Gold and all her tasty treats and all of that. And then pastries. And then Ron, he has a Bitcoin group now. So give him the Bitcoin group for people that want to join and want to learn more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. We just started this Run BTC. So like Run DMC, Run BTC, which is just the the symbol for Bitcoin. Anyone that's interested in kind of learning some things about crypto, we're new to this, so we're also learning as well. But we also have a lot of great advice that we can give folks. And we because I've been getting so many different requests, same with my buddy Ray, who started the actual page. It's easier to get information out if we put it on a page like that, and people can go back. We're going to start doing a couple videos, maybe a weekly show to give a recap on the market, give some tips for the upcoming week. So just keep an eye out for that. And again, if you're interested in crypto, just hit me up. I'll send you an invite to the group. I think it's actually open to the public, Run BTC, but if you can't find it, just let me know. Thank you.
Damn, Lakers getting their ass beat 47-70.
Man.
Tell me AD ain't the damn MVP. All right, that's another show. I see y'all
right. See that Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had an outburst. Uncouth Radio, we'll see y'all.